Welcome to the Minding Your Business podcast. I'm CJ Jolliffe with
Aaron Gerald.
There we go. I think we didn't screw up the intro. I think we're actually good.
I think this time it was a good one.
Yeah.
So outstanding.
So
man, I'll tell you, I'm super glad to be back. I feel like this is finally one of the first times that we're doing it official. Because I know we've been practicing, we're doing a lot of live streaming, trying to work the bugs out.
Right.
Unsurprisingly, there's been a bug every single time, at least one.
And I expect there to be one today for sure.
There may be, but I think let's just roll with it. Like let's get to it. We got some exciting things I think to talk about before the beginning of New Year's.
Yeah.
We've got to kind of wrap some things up, prep people, get them ready for what the next season or this season.
Yeah, I think it's all one season at this point, right?
Yeah, everything's all one season. I think you're right.
We don't need to define things, So for those of you that don't know, we've been live streaming in the last, several months, just trying to get better. We wanted, our goal always has been to go for a video podcast, so that we could, have this on YouTube and Spotify video and that kind of stuff. And so we've been working out those kinks and just getting, better with the technology side of things. And so that's what we've been doing. We've been covering some great things, but we have not put it actually on our podcast feed. So now this is our official, we are back with a new look and a little bit different format, new music, if you didn't notice. So this is exciting. I've teased Aaron. He doesn't know all the stats, but we got our Spotify Wrapped statistics. So basically it's here's what we know about our audience, over the last year. So I think we're going to jump into that. Does that sound good, sir?
Let's do it. Yes, okay, absolutely.
So, let's see if I can smoothly transition to a full screen share. We'll see what happens here.
Let's go.
All right, here we go. So you are looking at everything as I would look at it. So our fans were really loving the show in 2024. They have a clear favorite. Our top episode was when we talked about inversion. That's interesting. Maybe it's just the the graphic because the inversion is upside down. Let's see what else we have. So that episode was streamed 180% more than the average episode. That's quite a bit more.
Yeah, that's a lot more.
Ooh,
I wonder why that is.
Unfortunately, it doesn't tell us,
but ever wonder who your audience is? Yes, I absolutely wonder who
three
the
guys
audience.
And all they're all named Steve. Let's see. Let's break it down. Here we go. Our audience. That's interesting. So our biggest percentage, 37% of our audience is 35 to 44. The next size is 25 to 29. That skews a lot younger than I would have expected, but
and it surprisingly misses the 30 to 34.
That's why I actually would have thought that would be our biggest
second.
Yeah, but
isn't it interesting the way they break those down? They're saying 25 to 29, 30 to 34, 35 to 44.
4 years.
Yeah.
And 35 to 44 is 9 years.
And then 45 to 54.
It actually kind of makes sense to me, though, because if you think about it, there's a huge difference between
30 and 34,
25 and 31. That's a huge, for me at least, that was the difference between being kind of like a newlywed and being a dad, having a mortgage and, car payments and stuff. So,
that's a different stage of life.
Yeah.
For sure.
But once you break past 35, at least at this point, it all feels the same. So
yeah. Plus, if you look at it, 37% is we're whoa, that's our biggest chunk. But it's 9 years. It's twice as many years.
Right.
So of course it's twice as big. Basically, it's saying across the board, 18% at 45 to 54 is the lowest.
Yeah. So basically, no one over
by far the lowest.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And no one under 25. That's interesting.
Makes sense. Why would they want to listen to these old guys?
Yeah. Plus, I guess if you're 21, what business are you minding?
Right. I was in business at 21, but not really seriously until probably 24.
Yeah, but we're also not on TikTok. This is a podcast. And so I don't think podcast listeners are or that young anyway, at least not in this country.
Okay, so speaking of countries, let's look at where in the
Where
world
we've
we've
been.
been. Um, let's see. Our number one is going to be, it's going to be, we were streamed in 3 countries. Okay. It's got to be US. Yep. Let's see. Does it give us any others? 2 other countries, but it doesn't say what they are. Okay, great.
So it's the US and then the other two.
And then the others. Yeah. I'm sure it's Bolivia and Peru. That would make the most sense, right? Let's see. Your fans have great taste, obviously. Other than your show, they also like, oh, this should be interesting. The Joe
Oh
Rogan
yeah.
Experience. Hey, there we go. Rich Habits Podcast, number 2. Uh,
Okay.
number 3 is something that is in, I'm going to say French. Um,
Yeah.
number 4, Bad Friends Podcast with Andrew Santino and Bobby Lee. I don't know if you're familiar with that one, but
No.
wow. Well, we are in good company. And then The Journal, number 5, the Wall Street Journal podcast.
Wow.
What an interesting makeup here. Man, I don't know about this number 3 one, the one that's in
In
I think
French.
French.
It looks like
But
it's probably
so to me, that means someone's listening to us people are
France.
listening to us in either Canada, probably not France.
Oh, it's
That would
probably
make more sense.
Canada. Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's a wide berth of similarities. And you know what? I'll be honest with you, other than, I don't know, maybe the Joe Rogan Experience, I haven't heard of any of those.
Interesting. Well, you are not well traveled, sir.
Uh-huh.
I mean, who hasn't heard of Rogan now? Okay. This is the
Well, I
weirdest
think
thing ever. Okay. What kind of music are they into? Bass music. Okay. Dance hall,
okay.
and then
Uh-huh.
Celtic punk. What in the world? And
I
and
don't
again,
know.
think of like the demographics.
Uh-huh.
Who in these demographics are into Celtic punk?
I don't probably me.
Oh,
I
okay,
don't know.
yeah, nice.
Yeah,
I
I don't
didn't.
know, but in particular, I don't even know what Celtic punk is, but
I
it
was gonna
sounds
say
like
I didn't
something
know
I
it was a
might be
genre.
into.
Audiobooks. This is a great one. The number one. There's 2 categories of audiobooks that our audience is into. It's business and careers and political science. That's super interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought political science necessarily.
I think
The
I think it
business one I
comes
get,
with the
but
territory though, because if you're into business, if you're an entrepreneur, I think especially in the last several years, probably in the last decade or so, you really have to pay attention to
to
politics
politics. Yeah.
because it becomes a lot more important once you're a business owner. Um, let's see,
Yeah.
they didn't just listen. 81% of your audience watched video on Spotify this year. Well, sir,
What?
look at us. Look at us knowing where we need to go. That
Well,
is,
first of all, thank you for watching. Holy
yeah,
smokes. I would have never guessed that in a million years. And I would have thought maybe they clicked on for a second and they go,
sure.
well, I got to find out what this Joker looks like, whose voice
Right,
sounds like.
right.
But then to actually watch, that's, I mean, cool.
81%. That's pretty, that's a big number.
Yeah.
Let's see. What kind of creator are you? What kind of creator are you? It's going to tease us.
Is there a fumbling?
I think there's an answer. Um,
I
what's it
think the
saying?
answer is fumbling.
What did it say? Let's say the storyteller. Your creator personality is the storyteller. That makes total sense to me. I don't know. What do you think?
No, yeah, for sure. I think you more so than me. I love stories and I want to become a better storyteller. But yeah, absolutely. I think that 100% is accurate. Interesting.
Whether or not I tell stories well, in person or with my
Oh,
voice.
how well you tell the stories is different than the fact that you are a
I was going to
storyteller.
say. Now,
You're a
give
teller
me
of stories.
give me a video camera and some Premiere Pro timelines, and I can tell a good story. But I think
Yeah.
that's it. I think that's everything. Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Well, look at us,
Interesting.
man.
So
We're
I'm
moving up in
looking
the world.
forward to seeing. Is there a way to save that? Because I'd love to be able to save it. I get the fact we got like 8 listeners right now, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
if that, but I would love to be able to see if we naturally kind of transition into different do we stay storytellers? Is this
Right.
podcast going to switch, or how it's going to change and how the demographics change, how all of that kind of goes? It would be really, really interesting, I think, to see and compare year over year,
Yeah.
and then third year to the first year, fifth year, and on and so on. I
Yeah.
think
I'm
that,
not sure if we can, I know I can share it with you, but if nothing else, I know that we'll have this in the video. So,
yeah.
if nothing else.
Oh, yeah. That'll give us another reason to come back and re-listen to
Exactly.
this podcast. Um, yeah, it's getting more and more fun. Speaking of, so that's the podcast. Great.
Yay.
I actually appreciated the fact that we did that. Um, but the primary purpose of us doing this podcast is to mind our businesses.
Right.
I'll give you a quick update on mine because I don't have a lot going on other than some things have happened since. If you're a listener, an avid listener of the podcast, then you know that I've been working on a YouTube channel, working with the nonprofit in the nonprofit sector with a counseling center, and also working into doing life coaching, just so that there's realistically, the way I see it is the purpose is the same. It's just one bills insurance and the other doesn't. And
So you're
so
saying the difference between a marriage and family therapist and a life coach.
Yeah, life coach is how you bill. And
okay.
At least from where I'm sitting, the help I'm giving people, I would give them the same help. It's just, I can't, the billing. Right. And I love billing insurance. That has just become an absolute nightmare this year.
I've never heard anyone say that.
They're changing it again and adding more carve outs. And so, fortunately, I'm going to make less money for doing the same work next year as compared to this.
Well, that's lovely.
Working on the other aspects, I am getting my office situated currently. And so anybody that's been watching this podcast or even watching my YouTube videos, you will have noticed that I've been filming more from the office. That office is going to go through a complete remodel. I've taken over from one little section, one individual office with the reception, and the second office. I'm going to now take both offices and the reception and take over the whole unit for a various number of reasons that I don't want to get into at the moment. But we will be in the process of doing the painting and so forth. I'm going to take a couple of weeks off during Christmas break, spend time with my kids. My youngest, my 8-year-old, is going to help me retile the backsplash in the kitchen. And when I say retile, I mean originally tile, because it hasn't had a backsplash installed yet. So we're going to be doing that. I'm going to teach him how to tile. And then we're going to paint and probably organize and situate the office down there. So you will notice that the rest of, or very, very soon from now, anything you see on the camera is not going to be this dungeony basement office that I'm in now. I'm going to transition and do it from the main office there. So I'm really excited about that. I think I mentioned before, at least in the live stream, the transition and change that I'm kind of still in the process of massaging that YouTube channel. And the last video I made was one of the new ones. And I got to tell you, I really enjoyed making it. It was one where I got to speak about the stuff I do, which is helping couples communicate, relationships, all of that stuff. And I got to do that video, but the new way, which is just the conversational tone, just talking and carrying on, moving the camera a little bit, keeping it a little more interesting.
Sure.
And so it's one of the most watchable videos I've had out so far. And I think it's back in line with the subscriber base that I had. So I don't think it's necessarily straying too far. I'm going to still be doing the original type of content, talking about the things that I talk about all the time. So it's kind of natural. And then, but doing it in a more, however I feel like way. If I feel like being really cinematic, I'm going to go really cinematic. If I feel more being serious, I'm going to do it in a serious tone. But I'll have the whole office now to utilize and do that with. So I've been enjoying that, been enjoying shooting a lot more B-roll. So it's just getting to be more fun. I've also come to the conclusion that I am not going to chase an audience. I'm going to do what I do, and an audience will find me.
That's really good. Yeah.
So that's where I'm going right now. And then let me see. I think that's about everything I can catch you up on.
Okay.
Office is going to be changing, the kids, the school, tiling. So that leads me to my question phase. I've been seeing some stuff popping up on social media, and I know you are not a social media guy.
I
And
am
I
not.
say that semi tongue in cheek because it's not your face I've been seeing on
Right.
social media. I recognize another. So tell me a little bit about what's going on with Roast of the Week.
Yeah, sure. So, this is December 6th, 2024. So we just, we're about a week past Thanksgiving, Black Friday, that whole thing. And so every year, Roast of the Week's tried to do something for Black Friday. We didn't do a very good job last year. Um,
Okay.
I think our first year we had a pretty good offering and it worked out pretty well, but it was a very different model than what we're at right now.
Okay.
So to kind of catch everyone up, we've, for several reasons, we are no longer doing farmers markets. Some of it is personal, some of it is just, I think, being a good steward of our time. Um,
Okay.
and so there's a reason I'll get into, I'll show you some like an analog, the amount of time that went into like one farmer's market versus if I spend that time marketing and teaching my son about
Okay.
marketing. Like he's had a good
Yeah.
solid year of just doing the grind and doing farmers
Okay.
markets. And I think, man, I'll tell you what, my level of respect for people that do farmers markets that depend on farmers markets to make a living is like it's through the roof. Um, we've put in the work. We never really saw the sales to
Okay.
it paid for itself and it paid for things. It was good. It wasn't bad, but I have to look at it like, okay, I know how much I charge an hour, for even like consulting or video, production or web
Yes.
development, whatever those things are. I know what my hourly rate is, and it was getting to the point of just complete ridiculousness. And so, um, Christian has learned a lot about resilience in the last year. He's had good
Okay.
weeks and bad weeks, and through
Sure.
all of it, we had some great people, people that like we never would have asked for tips, people that just started tipping and wanted to tip, and all those people like helped him save up money to help with us and then grandparents. Like he bought a car, he bought a truck, and it's not
Woo.
an old junky truck. He's got a 2017 Ram, and like it's pretty nice. I'll be honest with you, I steal it, because I am the one paying
Right.
insurance on it. But that's a whole other thing. So we've kind of made it past that season. He's learned a lot of lessons from that, and now it's like, what else can I teach him? What's this next year going to look like? And
Right.
so back to Black Friday, going into it, it's like we need an offer. How, if we have that offer, um, what can we do to promote it? Let me grab something really quick.
Okay.
So, ooh, excuse me, as I trip and fall. So here it's a gift certificate. So we have these, and it's for a month-long subscription.
Okay.
And so we had those made up last year, and we had some left over and stuff from that. Um, we actually got those made up for like the holidays last year, and we did a really really terrible job of promoting it. That's just because we're so focused on farmers markets. That we didn't even, I don't think we even made a like social post about it. So um, we basically went through and we sat down for maybe an hour and a half and wrote out some copy. Here's what we should say. Um,
Okay.
and then we spent maybe another hour and a half, 2 hours shooting video of
Okay.
him saying all the things. And then I
Okay.
spent maybe, less than my initial cut was probably 45 minutes. After
Okay.
refining everything, I probably got in 2 to 3 hours of editing,
Okay.
you know, um, and all together with posting on social and all this stuff. And actually, I would say posting it on social and putting descriptions in and all the hashtags and stuff. That took probably the most amount of time. At least it felt like it
Okay.
did. And this goes back to why I'm not a person that goes on social media much. I mean, I'm a consumer,
Yeah.
but having to write out all the things and be like, hey,
Right.
look at me. It makes me, it doesn't give me life. Let's put it that way.
Wheezy.
So,
Right. I got you.
anyway, so I'll show you the result, and it sounds like you've seen it. But this is the 35-second version of our ad that we put on
Okay.
several different social
So
channels, and we'll talk about results. But
Let's talk about the fact that it was an ad,
it was an
not
actual
just a
ad,
post.
not just a post. So we started with the post, and then we actually went through and spent the
Did the
money to
promotion
promote
of the
it.
post.
Yeah,
Okay, okay, perfect,
specifically on
perfect.
TikTok. Um,
Okay,
but this started actually out. It was a 73-second version, which I actually think is better. We'll get into all that too. So here we go.
okay,
I'm gonna see if I can get us there.
okay.
Let's see. All right, here we go. All right, let me play this.
Do you know someone that loves coffee but don't know what to get them for Christmas? Give them the gift of fresh coffee from Roast of the Week. These retail for $100, but for Black Friday, we're knocking off $25, so you can buy yourself a little something special. You'll get a gift certificate, redeemable for a 4-week coffee subscription. They'll get a 12-ounce bag of fresh whole bean coffee, delivered weekly for 4 glorious consecutive weeks. We only have a limited number of these though, so head down to roastoftheweek.com/Black Friday to order now, before they're gone.
Okay, so that's it. Nothing, nothing super spectacular, but I mean, for full transparency, we literally shot that. I had Photoshop make the background. I told it what I wanted
Okay.
it to make, and I said, give me like
Okay.
a in focus Christmas tree with white and blue and black or whatever I said. Circular round ornaments and a fireplace that's out of focus. And then I added the roast of the week, logo to one of the ornaments,
Oh.
and
Mhm.
we put it on our TV, and he sat in front of our TV. I shot all that on my phone and edited it. I mean, like, so all of that together with all the stuff was about equal to one day at the farmer's market. But our
Okay.
reach, like without paid, any just organic reach, on YouTube, we had this is YouTube Shorts,
Okay.
249 views.
Okay.
And we didn't even have a YouTube channel before I uploaded it. We had to I created a YouTube channel and uploaded it, and we got 249 views. That's pretty
Uh-huh.
good, right?
You weren't running into 249 people at the farmer's market.
I mean, the farmers market has in the summer up to 10,000 people that go through it in a day, but they weren't stopping at our booth. You know, I think
That's what I'm saying. You weren't
we
getting
we probably hit
250
we
people.
probably hit the low hundreds in amount of people that we were talking with, giving samples to, or selling things to, or whatever. But
Right.
yeah, and then so that's YouTube. I'm not, honestly, Instagram, Facebook, X, none of those things were good enough for me to even talk numbers.
Okay.
TikTok was about 450. But what I noticed is in all the situations, there's initial kind of jump and then nothing. So I decided to try TikTok advertising.
Okay.
We threw about $50. I did two
Okay.
days of running that ad.
Okay.
Defined our target market as women. I think it was 35 to 54.
Okay.
That at least had some interest in food and the subcategories of food and beverage, that made $60,000 a year or more household income,
Okay.
in the U.S. only. So that spoke English. Like that, it's kind of like I was trying to drill down as much as I could. Honestly,
Sure.
that's what we know. The goal is like for this ad probably not to reach men. We just figured women would be a better reach than men. Plus, it's on TikTok, and there's going to
Yeah.
be more women on TikTok versus men. So, anyway,
Right.
so we spent $50.
Okay.
Um,
25
$25
each day for
each
2 days.
day. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. And how'd that work out?
we got over 9,500 views. So
Okay.
now here's the good and the bad. The good is we got a handful of new follows. We got a handful of likes, a couple comments. We got some engagement. The average
Okay.
watch time was like 2.5 seconds. So it's mostly, you know, scrolling past. So
Okay.
here's the thing. One thing you didn't see in that, one thing you didn't see in that video was what I would call an interrupt. So in any ad, and I think we've talked about this before, but to get
Mm-hmm.
someone's attention, you have to break their brainwave patterns. So if they're in the scrolling,
Yep.
rhythm, it's like you got to get their attention.
Yep.
And so the typical format of an ad would be interrupt, like get their attention, engage, get them interested, educate, so teach them something, and then offer or call to action. And so it had all of that except interrupt.
Interrupt.
The long version, the 73-second version,
Yes.
had 15 seconds of an interrupt. So I'm actually going to upload the long version later on today on all the places, but I'm going to watch YouTube and TikTok and see if the watch time changes. Because basically the idea is if we break those, beta brain waves or whatever it is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we have a chance to get their attention. So the other one starts out very, very different. It's, more funny. It's jokes. I mean, if for the people that are listening to this that aren't watching, it's my 16-year-old son in a Santa costume, and
right.
I mean, it's for literally ridiculous.
It's him talking. It's got some great graphics. The bag of coffee goes in his hand. Whatever.
Yeah, he just catches it.
Yeah.
And then for the delivery, it's
so
like
what are you
box every week, and it's being thrown at the front door,
It's
little things.
That the thrown at the front door was good. That should almost be the interrupt.
You're not wrong, right? I mean, that would get my attention, right? What is this?
So or let's just say you go in the house, you pack up 15 or 20 of those empty boxes and you hurl them all at the door. Something to where people go, what the hell is this? And that's what you need them to do. You need them to question and go, wait, what? And stay long enough to realize what's going on.
Yeah.
And then by then, hopefully they're interested. But
yeah. So basically, the results were, did we sell any at this point? Have we sold?
Did you?
No is the answer. So that's the bummer, right?
Right. But you learned a lot.
But we learned a lot, right? And I also understand we have not necessarily earned the right to ask for a transaction. Right?
Yeah.
With a lot of these
Nobody
people.
knows who you are, what they are. It's the first time they're even seeing Roast of the Week.
Yep.
And it's just some kid in a Santa costume being like,
exactly. So it also goes to like, what have we not done? We haven't told our story. He hasn't,
you need to tell the story.
We need to do the actual marketing instead of this falls into that that whole thing of this is running an ad, right? It's what I tell people not to do. Don't just run an ad, right? You have to shape that story. You have to build up a foundation. And then if you want to spend money on advertising, you can.
Then you do it. Dude, so my wife and I, we were just in Target. This relates. We're just in Target. We're standing on the coffee aisle. And we're looking and we're pulling bags down because that's why I had to order an extra bag of coffee this week because we were using too much of it. And so I used it fast. We ran out. So I'm like, let's just go get some bridge coffee, something that will tide us over. And so we're looking at everything. There are bags of coffee with Best By dates a year out.
I know. Isn't it crazy?
And
I mean, I guess it's not going to kill you, but ugh.
If that's when it's Best By, then don't bother. Anyway, we finally found one. It was a medium, and they actually put the date that they roasted it. It was 4 weeks previous, which is still pretty fast for Target. So I'm like, let's get it. Bought it, brought it home, made some coffee, and my wife's like, what else can we do with this garbage? Order an extra bag. What are we going to do with this? She's like, I can't believe we are those people now. We are those coffee snobs. She's like, I knew the coffee was good.
Right.
She's like, and I knew it tasted better, but I didn't realize it was so much better that we now can't drink the other crap.
Right.
And I'm like, I know. She's like, everything tastes burnt. I can't taste the coffee anymore. We got a medium roast, and it was medium. I looked at the beans. Now they're still a little darker than your medium roast, but it tasted burnt still. I'm like, how's it medium and still burnt?
I know.
And it doesn't matter. Just the taste of char. I can't get the taste of char out of my mouth now.
Yeah. I have been
so I can't do it.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. It's like anything else. Once you get used to, quality anything, it's really difficult.
I get it. And I understand why. It's better coffee. And I understand that it's more expensive. And in some cases, twice as expensive as some of the stuff that I saw in Target.
Sure.
And I'm like, man, here's the problem. I can buy a $10 bag of coffee at Target, or I can buy an $18 bag of coffee at Target. And you would think that the $18 bag would be better than the $10 bag, but they're both shite. I don't want to cuss, but they're both terrible, undrinkable crap.
Right,
like they're just horrible. And so it is funny because my wife tells me, like, no, I can see now why we pay as much as we do. It hurts a little until you buy a bag of the other stuff and go back, and then you're like, we're not wasting that again.
I mean, I'm in the same situation.
So, but how do you tell people once you start drinking this, the flavor will knock you off of the road you're on, and you will never be able to come back on it? How do you?
I think that's an ad right there. Don't buy our coffee. If you do, it will ruin you. You'll be so spoiled. That's a serious thing. I'll get on and give a testimonial that I thought it was just a temporary thing. And I thought that I could, eventually I won't have to spend this much on coffee. Right. But nope. I don't know what I'll do now. Like if you ever decided, okay, well, we're done. I don't know what I would do because I'm not sure that whoever you sell the company to is going to maintain the same roasting, because I understand it isn't a mass appeal, but it's so much better that it's that bell curve. You're selling way over here to people that actually enjoy the flavor of coffee, and the origin and the bean, the year and the sun and the water and the winter and the weather, and they want to taste it all. Right. That's a lot less people. They are willing to pay more for it, but yeah. Well, and I can't believe I've slid into that section now, but I'm there and I can't leave. Yeah. So I mean, basically one of the things, we've kind of always followed Roast of the Week, but I really want to get into the nitty gritty in the podcast in the coming weeks and months of like, here's what we're doing. Here's what happened, good and bad. I mean, I know like I'm supposed to be this like expert, because I've been doing marketing for, I don't know how many years, since 2000. I mean, I've been in marketing since the 90s, but I've professionally been in charge of strategy and those kinds of things since like 2009. So 15 years. I should know some things, but I can tell you this company selling B2C, especially over the internet, whatever, it's like such a commodity. It is one of the most difficult things I've ever done, if not the most difficult thing I've ever done. And what I want to really share with people is what I'm experiencing trying to grow this thing, how to market this thing on a shoestring budget. So that's kind of,
I think everyone is in that boat of trying to do it. Now, if we had millions of dollars to whatever, we could stay on that curve. But I believe marketing is what it is, and it's stable until the sun goes down. And then it's something different the next day.
And it's always changing.
Every day it's something different. You think, oh man, this worked. And then 3 days later, what you just did doesn't work. And you're like, what happened?
I know, it's crazy.
And so
we need to wrap things up, but I'm excited to go through this journey, and share it with everyone. Just be, completely transparent and everything. And hey, we're back. We're back.
We are. And I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to have the listeners. And if this is your first listen, thank you so much. Look forward to talking to you again, connecting with you. Don't be a stranger. Get on the Facebook and send us a message if you want to ask something or talk to us or complain. Whatever you want.
We'll see you next week.
All right.
Later.
Thanks. Bye.